Hey guys, so we are now in mid-March, and I think it is probably a good time to start talking about what is probably going to be the biggest update in the history of Dragon Ball Legends. Now, they did tease us with this. I have a few archived news posts here. I have the one from the 6th anniversary. This was literally in the middle of the anniversary they posted this. And then there was one that they posted right at the beginning of New Year's. It's like the New Year's greetings thing, which they usually post every year. And they usually give us a bit of insight into some of their plans for the remaining portion of the year, for the whole year, right? Because this was posted right at the beginning of 2025. They did give us a bit of a teaser of some of the things they're going to be providing us here. Well, not some of the things, but just that there is going to be like a massive update. So for this post, I'm going to go over just the important parts about both of these news letters here. But the point behind this video is I want to think about what potentially could some of the updates be that we see as a result of the massive app update that they're teasing here. So this was posted in the middle of the 6th anniversary. To me, this almost looks like it was kind of an emergency post. And the reason why is if you guys were playing back during the 6th anniversary, you might remember there were like massive server issues. Like it was really bad. The server issues were really bad. Like you would log in and it would take like 10 seconds just to go to a different menu screen because of how bad the lag was. Now they say, they directly mention this here. Regarding the many login issues that have been occurring recently, we deeply apologize for the inconvenience. These issues are the result of an increase in the number of people playing the game, straining our servers and networks, as well as connection problems with our cloud services, among other factors. So, I mean, I'm going to assume this is not a lie. I'm going to assume this is the truth. And they actually do just not have the server capacity to maintain like the immense foot traffic of all the players trying to access the game at the same time. Of course, I would say the 6th anniversary was easily their most successful celebration ever. And based off of what they're kind of teasing at here, which we'll talk about in a second, it sounds like the 7th anniversary is going to even just greatly surpass what we saw for the 6th anniversary. And they say going forward, we'll strive to provide a more stable gaming environment, blah, 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 blah. And then if we scroll all the way down here, they talk about some upcoming stuff, but it's really this that I want to talk about here. Further in the future, now there is some contradicting information here. We'll take a look at this. Our management team is looking into implementing a major version update sometime after the 7th anniversary. So this is clearly like a mega far in advance look at this update, because this was posted in the middle of the 6th anniversary. I covered this when they posted. I remember talking about this and I'm like, wow, they're already they're talking about the 7th anniversary. Actually, they're talking about something after the 7th anniversary when the 6th anniversary is still going on here. So that tells you how far in advance they actually do plan these updates. And then there's this other New Year's letter here. So if we scroll down, yeah, they give us a bunch of free stuff for the new year. 7th anniversary. This year we will be celebrating our 7th anniversary. We regard the 7th anniversary as an important year for Dragon Ball Legends. Same thing with Dokkan. I mean, obviously, you know, the number 7 has a very special meaning for Dragon Ball. There are 7 Dragon Balls. There's, you know, duh. In order to make it a memorable one, we are working on a super large scale update that will blow previous updates out of the water. Unfortunately, we cannot share the details with you yet, but we plan to gradually provide information starting around April. So next month, in potentially 2 weeks from now, I mean, they don't say when in April, they say around April. It could be any time where we start to see some trickling announcements being made about this potential update here. Now, I will just point out, they do say this major version update will happen after the 7th anniversary. Remember, this post was made 6 months before this post, so it's possible that plans might have changed. But I mean, this is specifically referencing the 7th anniversary, so I don't know. We'll see when they actually are going to do. I mean, it would make the most sense for like the biggest update ever to actually happen during the anniversary, or like right before the anniversary, so we could start the anniversary off with like a fresh new feeling. But we'll see. But the important thing about this is as part of the anniversary, I guess as part of this update, they do mention that there is going to be a massive upgrade, or I guess a massive increase in the amount of RAM that is required for, to access the game, to play the game, right? So let's just see here. Currently, the minimum requirements for Dragon Ball Legends on Android devices are as follows: OS, Android 6.0 or higher, 1.6 GB of RAM. However, the memory requirements has become a bottleneck as we aim for higher character production values and plan for future updates. Furthermore, security support from Google has already been discontinued. Based on the above, we will change the minimum requirements plan for a May 2025 update. So this to me is, I guess, kind of what contradicts this. Where is it? Yeah, sometime after the 7th. So like, this is literally when the 7th anniversary would happen. Like, there's no way, like, they wouldn't drop an update that would require you to literally have a higher amount of RAM in your phone to play the game if this update wasn't going to be like incredibly insane, right? So I think probably what happened was they were planning to drop this after the 7th anniversary, but then, 6 months later they released this newsletter, and now it's all of a sudden going to happen during or right before. Like, May 2025 is when the anniversary happens, but it's not until the end of May where the anniversary actually happens. Once we get into April, I'll probably start doing videos talking about when I think the anniversary is actually going to start and everything that's going to happen for it. But yeah, typically the end portion of May is when the anniversary begins. So I think this is going to happen to coincide with the anniversary, and we should start seeing some crazy new mechanics or whatever they're going to do for the first part of the 7th anniversary. So they're going, look at this, 1.6 GB required memory to 4. That's more than double. They're more than doubling the minimum required memory to run the game. Let's see. Dragon Ball Legends memory requirement has become a bottleneck as we aim for higher character production. Yep, we saw that already. Okay, this is the same thing. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to intro this video with, is there's going to be way more RAM required to play the game as before. And the reason why that's significant is because that tells us there's going to be some massive, like, of course it's going to be a massive update, but it's going to be something that would require you to have more memory, which implies, more detailed animations, new mechanics that are more interactive with more graphically intensive, like, animations and stuff on your screen. So what I've done is I have 5 possibilities of what this potential, May 2025 or massive update plan could be for the game. Which specifically is going to be related to why it would take more memory to run the game. So I'm going to go in order here. I'm going to go from 5 all the way down to 1. I would say 5 is probably least likely. And then 1 is probably something that's more likely, and also stuff that I'm going to be looking forward to more. So number 5 I have on here is going to be new battle functionality, like blocking, dodging. And that could be something that maybe plays into why they did the recent battle system change. Maybe they're planning for some kind of new battle functionality, right? So back, if you guys were playing in the beta of Dragon Ball Legends, so the game launched in 2018. This was, I believe, like early 2018, because it launched summer 2018. This was like spring or even winter 2018, like early winter 2018 that they did the beta for the game. Blocking was actually a functionality in the game. You could there was a block mechanic that you controlled to have your character block. And when the game released, they obviously removed that mechanic because I guess they just deemed it wasn't it didn't fit the game for whatever reason. But maybe they're re-exploring that, and they're gonna maybe add a way to block. They're gonna maybe add a way to dodge. We do have the auto dodge gauge for the UI Gokus, but maybe they're going to add like a manual way to do that, or a manual way to add blocking to the game or something like that. So that could be something. I have it number 5 just because I don't really see why that would increase the memory requirements of the game, but it could be something, that plays into the battle system change that we have, right? Maybe if they have blocking in the game, they don't also want you to be able to like back up, or if they have dodging in the game, they don't also want you to be able to always be able to like backflow and stuff like that. So I can understand why that might be something that they would want to do there. Something else that I have on here at number 4 is going to be assist characters. I'm trying to think of like an example of this that we see in other games, but like this would be something along the lines of, there's a lot of characters in Dragon Ball. And by the way, my reasoning behind each of these 5 items that I'm going to be talking about is how can they make Dragon Ball Legends more encapsulate the Dragon Ball experience? Like, how can they implement more of what happens in Dragon Ball into Legends to make it a more complete Dragon Ball experience? So yeah, obviously with number 5, with the new functionalities, blocking, dodging, that would make it feel kind of more like Dragon Ball, I think. And then assist characters, right? I mean, there are a lot of characters in Dragon Ball that just don't fight, and it would be hard to get those characters into the game, outside of maybe just being like a menu character or something, right? So like, I don't know, like Dr. Briefs, like the scientist outfit, older version of Bulma, characters like Oolong, King Kai, Elder Kai, and even like, the Grand Priest, potentially Zeno. Zeno could be one. I mean, Zeno doesn't really fight, but he's in the game, or he's in the series. And then something that I think maybe if they can't figure this out, and this is going to be something I talk about a bit later, giant characters. This could be a way to get more representation for giant characters into the game if they can't find a way for players to actually control them. And what I mean by assist characters, essentially, so like, let's just say, for example, there's like an assist, I don't know, like King Kai character. And he would be, I don't know how they would do this, if you have to summon for them or they'd be free to play or whatever the case is. But there's a lot, yeah, actually Dragon Ball Heroes used to have a character, it used to be called the SP type, the special type character. And they wouldn't really be like attacking characters, but they would be on the field and they would be providing supporting abilities. They'd be, helping you out in certain ways. We could have certain support characters, or I guess certain assist characters. Let's just say it's like King Kai, for example. Maybe King Kai, when you perform certain actions, like heals you a certain percentage every time you do something. Like every time you land like a strike card 4 times in the fight, your team heals like 5% health or something. I don't know. Obviously they would need to test things out and change things, but this is a way that they could get some of these characters in Dragon Ball that don't actually participate in fights into the game. Because I don't see, like, other than equipment, how else would they get the characters in the game? I don't think they would. But that could be a cool thing, and that would require more RAM if there's actually going to be models for those characters. So like, let's just say, for example, there is an assist character. Let's just say, I don't know, a giant like Hirudegarn. Hirudegarn is an assist character, right? Because he's a giant character. They can't find a way to get him into the game as like a playable, controllable unit. Maybe Hirudegarn's assist feature is he extends your combo by like 1 hit or something. So let's say you're comboing the opponent with a strike card and then you use a blast card, but then you run out of cards. And, there's no way for you to extend your combo because you're out of cards. But if you only had like a little bit of more time to be able to extend your combo, then you'd be able to keep, attacking the opponent, maybe farm up a rush or whatever. And, maybe there's a button on your, like where the synchro gauge is, kind of at the end of the health bar, where you could press the button and Hirudegarn could come in and just extend the combo with like 1 extra punch that he does. And then obviously there'd be like a long cooldown on it. But that could be something that, they could do with an assist character. Okay, so that was the 4th point here. Point number 3. Now, this is a big one. And this is definitely something I've seen a lot of people talking about since the beginning of the game, and I'm actually pretty surprised they haven't done this yet, and it is multiple transforming characters. So characters that can transform into multiple different forms. Now, this can go 2 different ways. So, for example, we could do, I don't know, let's just type Goku in here. We could have like a, just like a base Goku. It's hard to really... What, like basic, yeah, like this Goku, for example. This is a Tournament of Power Goku, right? What if this Goku had the ability to go Super Saiyan God as a transformation with his main ability, but then when he transforms into Super Saiyan God, that Super Saiyan God version of Goku could then transform again into Super Saiyan Blue Goku, right? That could be interesting. And we have not seen that ever. This game has never introduced a character that can transform multiple times. Something that I would love to see, obviously you guys know why, is if they did this for a Frieza character, right? What if we had a first form Frieza that transformed into second form Frieza, then into third form Frieza, then into final form Frieza? That would be cool. Another way they could do this is, what if, I guess this would, I'm trying to think of how they would actually do this. What if we had, it was just I guess it would be a Game Originals. It was a Game Originals Goku, right? And he starts off as maybe just Super Saiyan Goku. It was a Game Originals Super Saiyan Goku, and he has a transformation with his main ability, but you could choose whether to transform into Super Saiyan 4 or Super Saiyan Blue. So he'd have multiple transformations, but it's not going from, 1 to 2 to 3. It's going from 1 to 2A or 1 to 2B. And I guess what would happen is you'd press the main ability, and then like I don't know, like a menu would pop up that you have to choose your transformation in like 3 seconds of what you want to do, and then you'd be able to choose which one you wanted to do. And I guess there would have to be like advantages and disadvantages to each transformation, but that is also something they have never done. So I don't know. I think that's definitely something that's on the table, and the reason why this would be something that would require them to need extra memory for as an update is because I'm pretty sure the reason why they haven't done this is because of the extra memory it takes to have more models loaded into the game. Because when you load into a fight in PvP, I think what happens in that loading screen before the actual fight happens is when you're loading in, the game is loading all the different character models into the game, right? So the more character models you have, right? Because if you have a character that's transforming from A to B to C to D, it's gonna have to load in all 4 of those models into the game right away, as opposed to just A to B, which is typically how it works, right? So I think that might be the reason why they don't have characters that can transform multiple times. So if they increase the minimum requirements for memory that the game needs to run, then maybe they can get away with now doing characters that can transform multiple times. So that's something I'm looking forward to, actually, is if they do that, because that could be really cool for villains, honestly, more so than even like just the Saiyan characters. Like if we go, let me just see if I can pull up Powerful Opponent here. Like every single villain character in the game has multiple forms. Like there's never been like a main villain that doesn't have multiple forms. Like Cell. First form Cell, second form Cell, perfect form, super perfect Cell. We have first form Frieza, all different forms of Friezas. We have all the different forms of like the Buu characters. We can do base Goku Black into Rose, who then fuses into Fusion Zamasu and then gets corrupted into corrupted Fusion Zamasu. So yeah, there's a lot of different villains that I think could take advantage of an update like that. So that could be a really cool thing for the game. And that would open up a lot of possibilities. Like you talk about redoing some of these older characters or older villains. Like, yeah, we have, transforming version of Rose. We have an LF version of Rose. We have an Ultra version of Rose. Now let's get the multi-transformation version of Goku Black, right? That could be cool. All right, so that was number 3 on the list. Now here's number 2. I haven't really seen almost anybody talking about this, and it seems like such a big missed opportunity for the game, and this is certainly, I think, something that would require them to increase the amount of RAM necessary to run the game, and it is essentially just environmental interactions. What I'm thinking in particular here is to implement some way to fight on the ground, right? If you think about it, and this is not something you really think about when you play the game too much, is every single fight takes place in the air. All you're doing is fighting in the air. Like they have to give like the Earthling characters jetpacks and things like that to actually allow them to fight in the game, because every single fight happens in the air. Well, what if we start implementing a feature where characters can actually land on the ground, and then they can expand that even further to include different interactions with the environment, right? What if there's a world tournament feature where there's potential ring outs, right? Yeah, that'd be a fun experience with AoE green cards. But like there could be a world tournament mode if they implement like ground battles. They could have environmental destruction. What if there's a Frieza? Like for example, this golden Frieza, this purple Ultra Golden Frieza, his ultimate, like he's essentially destroying the planet when he does his ultimate. What if this Frieza destroys the planet with his ultimate, and then the background actually becomes like a destroyed planet background, and that gives like the team like a support buff or something? Like that could be like almost borrowing the domain feature from Dokkan in a way. That could be something that's pretty interesting, because throughout the history of this game, there's literally no interaction with the environment in this game. I mean, I guess I understand why, is because it would require a lot more memory to be used, but That could be why they do this kind of update here. And then, like, I don't know, there's a new Hercule or something in the game, and his part of his main ability is he, like, I don't know, he turns the background into the world tournament arena, and then all of a sudden it becomes like a world tournament fight, and then you win by ring out or something. I don't know. So that's the second point here. And then the first one is pretty obvious. It's going to be just giant characters. This one, I think, is something that most people at this point all agree that they need to get into the game somehow. I understand it's going to be pretty tough for them to do. Right now, I think the biggest character in the game is still Fusion Zamasu, the corrupted version of Fusion Zamasu. I mean, there are there are definitely very weird interactions with him because of how big his model is. Like, sometimes when he goes for blast cards, his hand is so big that it actually clips through the enemy character's model sometimes. Like, that's how big it is. So I definitely understand why it would be tough to figure out a way to get giant characters into the game. I guess the way they would do it, if they still wanted to have, like, the player maintain some kind of authority over the actions of the character. Like, we have giant characters in the game. Like, we have Selmax in the game, we have Hirudegarn in the game, but they're both death AoE characters, right? So Tapion dies. Hirudegarn comes out, does an AoE, and just goes away. Magenta dies, he, releases Selmax. Selmax comes out, does an AoE, and goes away. But you don't actually have a way of controlling the characters as a player. And that, I think, is what people want the most, as a playable version of these giant characters. And, when we're talking about ways to make the game more akin to the Dragon Ball universe, there are a lot of giant characters in Dragon Ball. I mean, you have like Fat Janemba, you have every single Grade 8 Vegeta, Grade 8 Super Baby, Golden Grade 8 Baby, right? The Giant 8 Baby character. You have Hirudegarn, you have Selmax, and you have Goma, right? So it doesn't seem like they're going to be letting up on these giant characters for Dragon Ball anytime soon. So I think it is really important to be able to get these giant characters into the game. Again, I was thinking about ways they could do this, and the only thing that I really thought could maybe work is if you have, like, an ultimate that's tied to a giant transformation, or you have, like, a main ability that's tied to a giant transformation. Now, what it would essentially do is it would almost transport you into a different battle system during the fight. So the person that uses the giant transformation, it only lasts for maybe 10 counts or something like that. And it's like, I don't know, it's almost like an embellished clash. When you clash with your opponent and you have to, whoever gets the higher score wins the clash. I'm thinking it's maybe something like, it's like a series of QTEs where there's prompts on your screen that whoever does it faster wins, but one person has the giant character and the other person is more so on the defensive end as they're trying to defend against the giant character. I don't know. It's gonna take some creativity, I think, to actually get giant characters into the game if they're not gonna have them just be traditionally, attacking and stuff like that, because it's tough to get them into the right camera positions and not have the models clipping through the opponents and stuff like that. So but I think they probably need to find a way to get them into the game. And again, I think increasing the required memory is the first step to being able to even allow that to be a possibility. So those are the 5 things I kind of brainstormed to myself about what I thought they could potentially add into the game that could quantify them needing to give us an increased minimum requirement to run the game in terms of the RAM memory here. So we should start seeing, I think, some hints or teasers or very short abbreviated news posts here about this update if it's going to be releasing in May 2025, which again, probably, I think it's either 2 options. One, it could be a few weeks before the anniversary, and that's not a foreign thing. We've seen them give us app updates a few weeks before the anniversary drops in early May to get us ready for the anniversary. It's possible they do it that way. But it's also possible they do the reveals and stuff, and then they at the same time were like, oh yeah, by the way, check out this update, and then there's some massive, never before seen game altering update that they drop at the same time as the anniversary. I think it's possible as well, but Let me know what you guys think about this potential massive update coming up. We have about 2 weeks before I think we can maybe start seeing some stuff for it, because that's going to be April. And they did say they're going to gradually start providing information around April. So yeah, those are the 5 ideas that I had that I think could make sense. Again, the goals of those ideas were to, 1, make the game feel more like Dragon Ball, and to implement more Dragon Ball, I guess, mechanics into the game to make it feel more like the series. And then also just because why would they need to update the RAM requirements, right? These are things I think that could justify that decision. So hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.